Hello.
Yay!
we were cracking up in the background because
don't name names.
I'm not going to say who it was,
Don't
but
name
someone
names.
said, "Shh, I'm at work."
So are we.
So are we, but we don't have to be quiet about it.
That's right. We can be really loud.
Hi, welcome. We're so glad that you are here today joining us for day 1 of the log cabin workshop. We love it when we get to show off new things that the designers have been working on. So that's fun. And this is cool because it's basically taking a super traditional, one of the most traditional quilt blocks I think people could name off the top of their head. And Annie, our co-founder and designer, digitizer extraordinaire, has modernized it and made it something you can do in the hoop of your embroidery machine.
It's so, I mean, it's just, I love the traditional quilts. I don't care what design it is. And if we can do it the Hoop Sisters way and have the quilting included and all that, I mean, that's amazing.
It's the way to go.
It is the way to go. It's super duper easy.
So we're going to walk you through that today. So before we get stitching and Annie takes you over to the machine and shows you how awesome this is, I do want to we've got a lot of new people in the group, which is fantastic. We love having new faces. I think every day I'm welcoming another 100 people, which is so fun. In fact, I'm behind on a post. So if you're new, welcome in. But I just wanted to just quickly explain who we are, right? So basically at the Hoop Sisters, it's where you're going to be able to do quilted, pieced, applique blocks all in the hoop of your embroidery machine. Right?
Yeah, it is. Yep. And the accuracy is beyond what I could do if I was just doing the quilting in a traditional way, because you don't have to worry about perfect seams and cutting the fabric exactly perfect. So there's a lot of room for some budging going on.
So how would you like to create something that looks like a work of art that doesn't require you to be perfect? Sounds pretty good, right?
Sounds darn good to me.
And we always include the quilting in our designs. It's never a separate purchase or something that you have to figure out later. It's all in with it. Okay. So the two in the middle there, those are the Hoop Sisters. That's Annie and Linda. I have Annie here with me today. My name's Aubrey Ellerbrock, for those of you who are new here. And then my real life sister is at the far left. That's Sarah. And she's got some workshops coming at you next month. So we're going to keep you busy, but it's exciting because you're going to have a lot to choose from.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. So we're excited. We are excited. I'm excited for tonight, Aubrey.
Oh, yeah. We should tell them what we're doing.
We're going to
before we get into the workshop, we're going to tell you what we're doing tonight.
We are what?
It just dawned on me that what we're doing tonight is something that's traditional.
It is. Of course it is. And we're not even Italian.
No, but I could be. I like pasta.
Yes, we're going to learn how to make pasta tonight. Not here in the VIP group, but somewhere else. So, So we'll give you a report tomorrow.
I might take pictures and show you. So that's what we have planned for tonight. So anyways, traditional, right?
That's very traditional.
Okay, so basically, here's another thing I want to touch on is what the heck is the Hoop Sisters workshop? We've got a lot of questions lately, like how much does it cost? And also, what do I need to have prepared to be at the workshop? The coolest part about this is the workshop itself is totally free. We are going to walk you through how to make this really cool new project we haven't even shown you yet. We're going to show you how to do it, spend some time with you today stitching out. And then tomorrow we're going to show you how we trim the blocks up to get ready to join them together. But basically, it's a 2-day virtual event that doesn't cost you anything. It's just fun. You get to come hang out with us and learn something new. And if you choose to, you can purchase that pattern. We usually have a special, which we have today too. And if you register in advance, we also give you a free gift. So,
and the cool thing too is that what we're doing today will always be available in this VIP Facebook group. So you can always go back. You'll see a video on how to do it and how to join them together. So
and it's on YouTube too. So yes, the replay, that's another really good point because it's a big question that we get asked a lot. So in terms of housekeeping items, we are streaming over on YouTube. We're streaming in Facebook. So hopefully anyone can catch us live. And the replays do remain in both of those places. If you're watching on Facebook and you want us to be able to see your name with your comment and you want to get into our giveaway, which I highly recommend, just simply go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and just give Facebook permission. If you're watching on YouTube, you don't have to do that. And then also, number 2, I promise we're going to get stitching here in a minute, you guys. I'm so excited. Number 2 is we have a real life customer service person who answers the phone. She's fantastic. She will help you along the way. So if you don't get your question answered live, you can always contact Nina. Our phone number and her email are on the screen right there. We also, shopping for this design is going to start today. Woo-hoo! Yes, we have limited time pricing and a bundle bonus with this, of course, if you've been hanging out with us for a while. So no coupon code needed unless you're out of the country. And if that's you, check your email. But just know if you're like, what the heck are you talking about? We're going to get into it. I promise. Just hang with us for a little bit. We also have a giveaway today and tomorrow. And speaking of just giving things away, how did you guys like that free gift? Did you like the free gift? So if you register for one of our workshops, we like to give you a free gift. We like to give things away. Here. Yes. And I took the other colors. I have all purple. Yeah. Emily said she loved the free gift. Trouble getting it on Facebook? Don't worry, Joan. I see you on YouTube, so it looks like you figured out how to join us after all. Loved the bookmark. We think they are just precious.
They are very cute, and I like that you can put a little ribbon or whatever you want here on the end. That way you can find it easier in your book. So, and what I did with it, in case anyone wants to make multiples, is I just put a bunch of them in my hoop, larger piece of fabric to cover them all, and then just cut them apart. And that way you can get a whole bunch of them done in one
easy peasy.
That's right.
Okay. That's right. So you got your free gift. You know kind of what the workshop's about now. I think we should show you guys.
That's probably why they're here.
Oh, if you registered just an hour ago, Sue, it's in check your email. If you didn't see it right away, it'll be in your email. No worries. Okay. Do you want me to hold it and you talk about it? It's your baby. I'm just here for the ride.
Well, yeah, you hold it. I was just going to talk about a mistake I made. But
no.
Okay.
So here it is.
Okay, there it is. There's our log cabin. Isn't it pretty? Don't you love those oranges and blues in there with it? And the quilting that's on there, Aubrey, if you could flip that around to the back, they can get a better idea of what that quilting looks like. And today when we do our block, we're going to be putting the back on the back of our block while it's in the hoop, and we're going to match our needle and bobbin thread. That way you can see all that beautiful quilting come through to the back. And
I'm going to get up closer.
Yeah, and this also comes with the border that you see on here. So you'll get your main log cabin block file. You'll get your border block files, and you'll get your corner files as well.
Yeah, and the quilting is awesome. Someone just said that the quilting's awesome, and I agree. And it's look how that just pops off there. Mm-hmm. And that quilting again is included. Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I don't know when you want to talk about this.
The bonus?
Well, I was going to say the block sizes.
Oh, yes. All right.
She went bananas.
I did. And I took a whole lot of time figuring out yardages.
We didn't want to go in there when she was doing math.
It's like, what do you want? But this is our 7-inch block. It comes in, well, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comes in a 5-inch, a 6-inch, a 7-inch. Is that a 7-inch? That's a 7-inch.
I was going to say.
We still going an 8-inch, a 9-inch, and holy cow, a 10-inch block. So if you want to make one for your bed and you can do the 10-inch block, you have fewer blocks that you need.
But I really think that this now we've got it all wonky.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, wonky.
You got that wonky word.
We got something coming.
That's right.
I want to put this back because I think just looking at it this way too, like,
oh yeah, look at all that variety of block sizes that you can stitch out.
Isn't that awesome?
The other thing you get is not just the block sizes, and this is why it took so long figure the math on the different bed sizes, because we also have in here, you have like a crib size, a twin size, a full size, a queen size, and king size yardages.
Yeah.
And we tell you how many pieces or whatever to cut of all the yardage, so you can get everything cut ahead of time and then sit down and just make one block right after another.
That was the math.
That was the math. That was the week or two that I'm like, stay out, don't talk to me. I'm busy.
That's funny. Okay, real quick, I've got one more thing I want to show you super fast, and then we can let Annie take over and get to the fun part, right? All right, so just real quick too, we do have a few shops that have this already in store. Yankee Quilter in Seymour, Connecticut. Go see Cheryl. Cheryl is amazing. We also have Sewing Concepts in Woodstock, Illinois. Heirloom Treasures Creative Sewing Studio if you're up in near Paris, Ontario. And then, of course, we've got Super Stitch in Northeast Pennsylvania. They have this, and they're ready for you to grab it. Cheryl is amazing. Yes. Yep. Okay.
So
it's your show now. Where do you want to begin?
Let's go over here.
She's over here.
Over here. Sorry. I'm pointing
I'm like, what's over there?
Not in the air. I'm pointing at a camera. Okay. So these are what you're going to need. We have it divided up. Let me see if I can show you here. There's, for the block, why don't I bring one of these over here to show you? Okay. So here is our block. So you're going to need, we call the oranges for ours are 1. So there's like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and then there's 2A, 2B, 2C. So that's kind of what it looks like. And there's diagrams on your instructions, because that could get kind of confusing there at first. The other thing that we show you is that we have the just a little swatch page that once you buy your fabric, and it might not hurt to do this while you're at the store, is to take this to the store with you, as well as your fabric requirements. And that way you can just put your fabric on there and you won't get confused once you get home. And I say that because I would get confused once I got home and have to try and refigure, why do I have that? Where does that go? So we give you a little swatch sheet so you can put all your fabrics on there. And then you have, like, all I printed was just the 5-inch. So we have the 5-inch. I should probably turn it this way. So here's the 5-inch yardages. And like I said, you have your crib, twin, full, queen, and king. And it lists your 1A, B, C, D, and then your 2A, B, C. And then we have your backing, sashing, and some other things that you need. So it lists the yardages at the top. And underneath that is what you do when you get home and how you can pre-cut everything so you're ready to sit down and sew. And let's see. And the second page of whatever size you're going to do, it also is going to tell you what other things you're going to need. And some of those other things would be the wool. If you want to use optional wool to place right over your battleizer for a little dimension, you can do that. I did that in the quilt that we showed you. The block I'm going to do today, though, I'm going to skip that. And I'm going to skip it because there's already a lot of piecing right onto the battleizer and the quilting. And I just want to see if it really is going to make that big a difference, especially on the 5-inch block. So you'll be able to find that out and maybe decide after today whether you want to add the wool or not. This is going to be my backing fabric. You're going to need thread that matches your fabric 1 and thread that matches your fabric 2. And you're also going to need matching bobbins. And if you do use the wool, and this is going to apply to any of our designs where you want to add the optional wool, you need to have the edges pressed. And I don't know if you hopefully see that on the camera, but it's very thin right there. But in the mid, that's because we pressed it. And we pressed it so that when the machine is doing the zigzag to attach that to the battleizer, and you'll understand that more in just a moment, that your presser foot won't be getting caught in there. And I just used my iron and I pressed down about 1/4 of an inch around the outside edge of my wool. I do like to, I recently discovered the parchment paper from the kitchen. Oh my goodness. It's a game changer because the wool will end up sticking a little bit to your iron. You'd have to clean it. So this will avoid any cleaning. So Aubrey, I'm going to go ahead to the machine.
Okay.
And we're going to get started.
Well, she is doing that. I did see a question that said, do we have to go to that shop to get this? And the simple answer is, if they are near you, if they're in your neck of the woods, then absolutely go support your local quilt shop. If you are nowhere near them, you can get it from us, and we'll talk about that as we kind of progress through today. I'm going to have different details, pricing. We actually have some awesome bonus and a bunch of good stuff like that. So just hang in there. But if you're close to that shop, absolutely go support the local quilt shop. Okay. All right, Annie, I'm going to flip you onto the stage.
Okay. Are you ready for me to get started? Okay. So the first step in our designs is you are going to be hooping your battleizer. And we haven't talked about battleizer yet. For those of you who don't know, it's our batting product. And basically, it's, when you're embroidering, you need to have a stabilizer because you're going to be doing some dense stitching sometimes. And so you need to have it stabilized. And it needs to be something thin. And this has a really nice drape to it. And it has a scrim in it. So there it's the batting and the stabilizer combination. And of course, I can't separate it, but you get the idea. It's batting and stabilizer combined. And that's what you're going to place in the hoop. I've already done the first step in the design, and I have stitched out a placement stitch so that if you decide to add wool, you'll know exactly where to place that. So as I said before, I'm not going to be adding my wool today. But I'm going to talk to you through on how to do that. You would just take that wool. We tell exactly what size to cut it. You're going to press the edges to keep the foot from getting caught in it. And the machine will do a zigzag stitch to hold that in place. So our step after that, if you're not going to do the wool, you're just going to skip over to step 3. So I'm on step 3 right now. I'm going to hit the button and it's going to sew the pattern onto the battleizer so we know where all our fabric will be placed. Okay, so now our instructions are going to start asking for fabric. This would be a good time to keep this by your machine, your little swatch sheet. It's going to call for fabric 1A, so that just right away tells me exactly which of my fabrics I'm going to use. This one's kind of easy because it is just a square. So I'm going to go ahead and place my 1A. We're just going to center it right where that square is. Now, normally, I'm going to tell you too, this step calls, the first few steps call for a water-soluble thread. And that's basically so you can avoid some thread changes. And also just kind of avoids some like thickness in your quilt. I'm placing my fabric 1A little square right over that center square, and I'm peeking underneath to make sure I have it centered fairly well. And then I'm going to let the machine sew a tack down stitch. This is generally also a water soluble step, but I want you guys to be able to see exactly what's going on and where it's stitching. Okay, I'm going to grab my little hoop scissors here. I see a little thread tail I just want to get rid of. Now the other thing I want to tell you too, oops, now I'm dropping stuff, is sometimes you may need to, depending on how you place your fabric, you may need to trim the fabric a little bit. So I'm going to just trim this a little bit. So the great thing about Hoop Sisters, I think I mentioned it before, is that you don't have to have perfect seams because the embroidery machine knows exactly where to put that seam. So I'm just going to lift this up and I'm going to cut it so it's like at a scant 1/4 inch. And this is our hoop scissors, and it's basically an offset handle scissors. On the log cabin, I really like to use our bigger hoop scissors, and you'll see why as we get going. So now we're on step 5, and now it tells us to change to just a neutral color thread and just in the needle only, and it says to place fabric 2A. So I'm going to take a quick peek at my swatch sheet. And 2A is this cute little blue checkered. Now, when you cut your fabric for the log cabin part, you're just going to be cutting it in strips, the width of the fabric. So we'll tell you to cut it in 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 inch strips. I believe these are 1 1/4 for the 5 inch. And you can just leave one long strip, and you'll see why as we go. So you're going to take that strip of fabric. I'm going to put it right side down. And I'm going to make a raw edges even, that little piece of fabric in the center. Machine stitches a seam. Okay, and then you're going to flip your fabric right side up. And for the next step, it's going to sew a tack down stitch. So you're just going to hold the fabric there with your fingers out of the way. And it's going to do the next tack down stitch. And then you're going to cut that strip off, leaving like a scant 1/4 inch there, just like that. So now we're on step 7, and it says we're still going to use fabric 2A. I'll show you just for reference. There's our block with our 2A. It's nice once you complete a block that you have that by the machine too. And that's a good little cheat sheet, just having that nearby. So again, I'm placing my 2A fabric right side down, raw edges even, and I'm going to sew a seam. So this whole block is basically just stitch and flip around the entire center. You just have to kind of watch which fabrics you're using in the right place. So now I'm going to flip my fabric right side up again. And it's going to stitch a tack down to hold that fabric in place. And now I'm going to trim it to a scant 1/4 inch. And now for step 9, it says fabric 1B. So again, you can look at your swatch sheet. I'm going to peek at mine or at my block just to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. So here's my 1B. And you're going to lay it right side down. And you can look at the diagram that's in your instructions or on your screen, and it shows you right exactly what's going to happen for that particular step. So I'm just going to lay my fabric right side down. I have the selvage there, so I'm going to make sure that it's extending beyond what I need there. Because talk about being okay, I'm going to flip it right side up, and I'm going to finger press it, and I'm going to smooth it out and sew another tack down. Somebody had a question about vanished light. I'm talking about that again. That's a water soluble thread that we recommend. And basically we use that in a couple of different places. In the beginning, we use it for to do the pattern and to do the tack down for the wool if you're using wool. It also is used in a basting stitch around the perimeter of the block. And we do that there, and maybe Aubrey can find an example and show that as to why when you sew the blocks together, you don't want that basting stitch showing. And so the water soluble thread, all you have to do is get it wet and it disappears. Okay, so now we're going to do the next step. We're just going to add the same fabric, right side down, raw edges even, sew the seam. flip it right side up, finger press it so you can kind of get the idea. We've gone all the way around the circle, and we're just going to do that 2 more times until we get our block complete. So really the only thing to be super careful of is just making sure you're using the correct fabric. That's why your swatch sheet and just having a block by your machine is kind of important. So now we're in the blue area, or the fabrics that are labeled 2. Mine are blue. Who knows what colors yours will be. We're on step 13, so now we're going to use fabric 2B, and that's this color for me. And I'm going to lay it right side down with those raw edges even, and you can grab your hoop scissors if you have a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch here, just trim that away. And by trimming it, it kind of gives you that raw edge to line up your next fabric with. And then we'll flip it. And it sews the tack down. You just give it a nice finger press and flip that and smooth it out. And then it can sew the tack down stitch. Okay, and then we're going to trim this to a scant 1/4 inch. And I have kind of a generous amount here, so I'm going to do a little trimming there too.
You let them know what's in your bobbin?
Oh, I just have regular embroidery bobbin thread in my bobbin. Did not mention that earlier, but that's all we're using because it is going to be covered with the backing fabric. And once we have the backing fabric, then we're going to change to a different bobbin thread, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So now I'm going to take that same fabric, lay it right side down, and we're going to stitch the next seam. And that's the great thing about the embroidery machine. It knows exactly where your seam needs to be. And now you flip that right side up, finger press, smooth it out, and sew another tack down stitch. Looking cute already. Okay, and I'm going to use the hoop scissors to trim that to a scant 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to go to my next color thread, which is going to be my orange. And I'm going to lay it right side down, raw edges even. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's that easy. You just keep going around and round until you get your log cabin finished. And flip it, finger press it, smooth it out, and sew another tack down stitch to hold it in place. And cut that to a scant 1/4 inch. Using the same fabric, you're going to lay that right side down with the raw edges even and sew a seam. Isn't this easy? Wait till we get the back on. You get to see the quilting. That is the fun part. I don't think Hoop Sisters has a design that says quilt as desired. I mean, you could skip our quilting, but I don't know why you'd want to. So then we're going to finger press it, flip it, and do another tack down. And cut that to a scant 1/4 inch. And then our next is another blue. So isn't that beautiful? That's a beautiful color blue. We're just going to lay this down right side down with the raw edges even. And we're stitching another seam. Now I want to also mention that the fabric that you use for the outer is going to be cut a little bit wider when you cut your strips than what these inside pieces are. And that's so that we know that we have enough on the outside edge to, to have a seam allowance to sew all the other blocks together. So now I'm going to flip it and finger press it, and it's going to sew a tack down stitch, but it's not going to sew a tack down stitch on the outside edge. And that's because that's one of the places we want to use our water soluble thread, is on the outside edge. And again, we'll hopefully have a nice sample to show you up close as to why. It's going to tack it down, but it's only going to tack it down on the side. And then over on this side, because we don't want that outside stitching to show when you sew the blocks together. And I'll just cut that again to a scant 1/4 inch. We're going to use the same fabric to just take that strip again. And you want to extend that about a 1/2 inch past where the block is. And that's so that we can do our trimming of it later, which we're going to show you tomorrow. And we're going to sew another seam. And then we're going to flip this, and it's going to do a tack down again, and it's only going to do a tack down, I think, in just that one spot. And that's just to hold it in place. And then we're going to put our water soluble thread in it after all our fabric's down, and that's going to hold our backing on and also give us an edge to trim against with our trimmer by George. So now I'm going to cut that to a scant 1/4 inch. And my final fabric for the final edge is this one. So I'll lay it right side down with those raw edges even. And it sews your seam. And we're going to flip it. And again, it's going to do a tack down, but only on this one side. And it wants me to rethread for some reason. And it looks like it's threaded. Let's try that again. All right, so now over on this side on the left, I'm going to trim that so that this end of the fabric is even with the blue fabric. So I'll just trim it like that. It's a little short, but it's still enough. And then we're going to take this final piece. This is the final outside edge, our last seam. And I'm going to flip it and finger press it. All right, I think I know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to go to step 28 that my machine is showing me we're on because I don't want to mess it up. That's what I thought. So now we're going to add our backing fabric. And we're also going to match our needle and bobbin thread. So I'm going to take your hoop off the machine, but leave your quilt block in there. And then you're going to take your backing fabric and you're just going to center right over that block. So I'm going to lay it on here and I'm going to peek underneath in every direction and see how I need to adjust this. And I'm just going to very gently, so that the fabric clings to that battleizer. And then I can just turn it upside down and it stays in place. And I'm going to put my hoop back on the machine. I'm going to also look underneath here because I want to make sure that when I slid that back on there that nothing moved. Now this is the spot where you would change to a water soluble thread. So I'm going to do that right now. And again, the reason we use water soluble thread for this step is so that once you sew this block to the next block, if that basting stitch if you did, your seam wasn't deep enough to hide that basting stitch, you just get it wet and the thread disappears, which is awesome. So let me real quick thread my machine with the water soluble. And now my backing fabric is on there. I still have embroidery bobbin thread in the bobbin. My water soluble is in the needle. And again, that's so that when you sew this block next to the other block, that you don't have to worry about this basting stitch showing. And then all you have to do is make sure that your fabric is laying nice and flat, which it is.
A couple people are amazed you didn't have to spray or tape your backs. Maybe you talk about
Oh yeah, the battleizer, it just clings. It's like if you have a design wall that has flannel on it, it kind of has that like it just naturally clings to it. So there you can see our back. The next two steps are the quilting, and the quilting is done in 2 steps. And that is so that we can change to 2 different colors if you choose. If you want to use the same color all throughout, you're welcome to do that. It's your quilt. So now I'm thinking I have to do, what color am I doing here? I'm going to do orange because it's stitching on the orange. One of the things you will definitely have to do is make sure that you match your needle thread to your bobbin thread, and that's going to make it look really pretty on the front as well as in the back. All right, now I'm going to do needle down, needle up. I'm going to bring my bobbin thread up. I'm going to put my hoop back on the machine. And now one of the things that you're going to keep in mind is you want your back to look just as beautiful as the front. So you don't want any bird nests or anything to appear. You want it to look beautiful. So a couple things we recommend once you have your same thread and the needle and the bobbin is go to your machine, where if your machine has a thread cutter on it, go to that menu and you're going to, hold on here, I got to figure out where I'm going. Oops. Okay, so you're going to go to your, I just went to the wrong place. No pressure. But what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your, okay, now I'm off where I'm supposed to be. You're going to make sure that your automatic thread cutter is turned off. And the reason you're going to do that is because it helps not have bird nests on the back. Okay, so the other thing that you're going to do, you're going to turn your needle threader or automatic needle cutter off. You're going to also bring that bobbin thread to the top. And by bringing your bobbin thread to the top and holding it as it begins stitching, it's going to avoid bird nests at the bottom on the back side. So I'm going to just cut that thread tail.
Okay, well, Annie's in there stitching. I do want to flip over and give you some details, let you know how to get the best pricing on this, just all those kind of things that you probably want to know by now. So this is a brand new design for Hoop Sisters, the traditional log cabin block done sort of the higher tech way in the hoop, which is really exciting. This design is $45 and it's available on USB as well as a download. And if I could have Nina pop a link in the comments, that would be fantastic. So you guys know exactly where to get this. And you can add it to your cart. This is also the thing that I love about this design. Well, there's a lot to love about it, right? It's super cute, super traditional, but yet this really fun way of creating it. But the other thing that I love about this is the big range in block sizes and all of the math that Annie did to get you the fabric requirements so that no matter what size you end up wanting to make, you will have the fabric requirements that you need. So we have this poll actually in our Hoop Sisters VIP Facebook group. If you are not in that group, I highly recommend you jump in there. I recently asked, what quilt size do you prefer? And we had a big long list, but you guys are really loving the table topper and wall hanging size, which we've had a lot of those come out recently. So you can make this particular design anywhere from lap to king. And the really cool part about this is depending on, the block size you pick and how many blocks you make, you can really kind of tailor this to whatever size you want, which is really cool. So, all right. The other thing is when we do our workshops, those of you who have been around for a while know how we do this. If you're new, pay attention because I'm about to share with you the very best way to get the best price. Okay. Annie, do you want the screen back or do you want me to keep going? Okay. I'm going to switch this back to Annie and then I promise I'm going to share with you the best way to get the best pricing. Okay.
Okay, I am now, this is the final quilting step, which is just changing to a different color. So I've changed my bobbin thread and also my needle thread. And now I'm going to do the final quilting. You can see the pretty orange quilting that's on there. And I'll show you the back when we're completely finished. Okay, and so again, just another reminder, just do a needle down and a needle up right through your block so that you can bring that bobbin thread to the top and then begin sewing, and that'll avoid a bird nest on the back. And we'll just let it stitch, and Aubrey, we can go back to you now.
Okay, so as I was saying, this is now available on our website. It's also available at some local quilt shops, which I showed you earlier. But during our workshop, these 2 days, we really like to give you guys a chance at the best pricing and a bonus. Okay, so this offer that I'm about to share with you does expire this Friday, January 26th at midnight Eastern time. But this is the best way to go because we do suggest that you pair this design with our battleizer. Annie just showed you the battleizer. It's the first step in our instructions is hoop the battleizer. And what's fantastic about that is it's that combination of batting and stabilizer in one product. You saw how nicely the back clinged to that too. So you're definitely going to want this product with it. So you can pick 5 yards or 15 yards, depending on if you know you're going to make a big quilt with a big block size, you might want the 15 yards. If you know you're going to make something a little smaller, 5 yards would be great too. You can pick. But when you add the design and the battleizer to your cart, so 2 different products, add them to your cart, what's going to happen is you will automatically get 10% off your order. And it's going to open up a bonus for you that it's just going to add to your cart for free. So this is the very best deal and it's only available, the deal is for these 2 days. The quilt will remain available, but if you want the absolute best pricing, this is what you're going to want to do. Okay. But let's break this down even further because it's an amazing deal. So the design is $45. You can get the design as a download and get it right away, or you can order it on USB if you'd like to have it in your hand, but it's $45. Let's say you do the 5 yards of battleizer, that's $33.99, and the bonus by itself is $15. Okay, so if you added all that up, you'd be at $93.99. But if you order it during this promotion, these 2 days before the end of day Friday, you're going to get that 10% off. Plus, you don't have to pay for that bonus. So you're going to save $22.89 if you order it during our workshop, which is fantastic. If you have a shop near you, they have access to the free gift, to the bonus, and they can honor the 10% pricing if they choose. So if you have that local quilt shop we showed you at the beginning, then you'll even save on shipping. So that's a really great way to go too. Let's talk about this bonus.
I was hoping I didn't miss the bonus.
No,
thing.
it's time. We're going to talk about the bonus.
Oh, the bonus is so cute.
In fact, I think I'm going to put the camera up so we can hold these up. But the bonus is so fun. It is the wonky ditty bag.
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Oh.
Can we use this camera?
Yes. Here.
The wonky ditty bag is just something that you can do with the bonus.
Mm.
The bonus is basically just a piece of fabric with the log cabin quilting on it. And it comes in the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-inch file size. So you have a size for each and every one of them. And so your instructions when you get your bonus will tell you what size to cut your fabric and your wool if you're going to use wool. So that's actually the bonus. The wonky is just
more bonus?
Well, it's more bonus. It just gives you an idea of what you can do with this one cute little quilted block. And on page 4 of your instructions, when you get your bonus, it tells you can make a rug mug just with one block and just finish it, or back it somehow. You can make several. Make a placemat. You can turn it into a hot pad if you use some type of thermal type of batting, not battleizer. They would have to be something thermal. You can use it to enlarge your quilt. So you can alternate blocks with the quilted block or use it again to add to the border to make your quilt even bigger. And it stitches out so super fast. If you made a couple of these blocks, you can put them together, make a little purse or tote. Or, ta-da, the wonky ditty bag. She stole my thunder.
Let's pull them up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
Yes, I do see some people asking if we can show the quilt shop list again, and we will do that. Just give me just a couple minutes. We'll go through this, and I'll get back to the list.
All right. Let me get my stuff out of the way here. So I did not make all, 6 sizes.
Oh, you made a lot, though.
I did make a lot, but I'm thinking, okay, I get the idea. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5. I think this is the 10-inch size. It's huge.
It is
absolutely huge. I don't remember what size this is, but as you can see, they go different sizes, and for whatever you need to pack or whatever.
I got my snacks.
Yep, she's got her snacks. She's gonna steal one of my wonky ditty bags so that
just don't steal my snacks.
And look at this cute, adorable one. And your fabric on the inside is kind of cool. So they're just super fun little bags.
They are. And I just love all the sizes.
Yeah. So this is just 4 of the 6 different sizes that you can get. You can nest them inside each other. I just noticed on here we were talking about water soluble thread.
Oh yeah, I got an example too.
Okay. Well, I wonder if they can see on this example that you can see.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
This is water soluble thread, but if I got it wet, can they see that okay, do you think?
I think so.
I'm not sure which direction to go. But the white you see here is the water soluble thread. If you got it wet, I was going to spit on it, but I don't think I will. It's very unprofessional. But if you get it wet, it will dissolve so that you don't have to pick out those stitches. Aubrey has another example.
Your example, I think, is actually better.
Now, this black was great.
Yeah, because it really shows up on the black. It doesn't show up as nicely on the pink. But in that seam there, you see that white thread? That's basically the placement stitch that we started with. And if you didn't want to see that, we never take ours out because we're moving on to something else, and we
Right.
want to be able to show you.
And they always ask, why
Yeah.
do you use it? Well, that's why. So we always have an example nearby.
Yeah. So there's a couple examples. It does not. It's not where you hold the block together, so it'll be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, just whenever you have a seam, make sure you are not using the water soluble.
Right. Okay. I'm going to pop this back in here. So that's the bonus this time around. And again, if you put the design and some sort of battleizer, whether it's 5 yards or 15 yards, the bonus will go into your account for free. If you want to buy the bonus and you don't want the other stuff, you can do that too. It's $15. If you are out of the country and shipping is crazy or we can't send it to you, check your email. You would have gotten an email that has a promotion for you in there. Yes, you can order water soluble thread. I don't know that I have it in the right spot on the website, but if you search the website, we do have water soluble thread available. What was the quilt that you just showed that had? Okay.
Oh.
So this is a 3-block wall hanging called Calla Lily. Oh, they can't see it. I should change the camera. Okay, we'll hold it up. The example that I was showing is the Calla Lily design. Isn't that cute? It's a 3-block wall hanging. I just love the center of those flowers. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So this is totally unrelated to the log cabin, but it had an example with the water soluble thread. So is the bonus done in the hoop or sewed?
Oh, you make the block in the hoop, and then you do the zipper and the wonky seams you do on a regular sewing machine. And we give you instructions on how to do that.
Okay. All right. And then again, if you're outside the US, check your email. And here it is, the full collection, right? I mean, we already gave you the bookmarks free just for registering. We showed you the design today. Highly recommend the battleizer. And if you get that, again, it opens up the wonky ditty bag bonus. And then you'll have it all. You'll have absolutely everything. Can you please explain how to use the parchment paper?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Let me go grab my little wool piece that I had.
Okay. Well,
I've got one here.
Okay.
All right. Oh, kind of hard to see. Okay. I just laid it on here because it got lost on the white.
Yeah.
But basically the parchment paper, if you're doing your wool, and I have brown sheets of parchment paper at home, but the white works the best because you can see right through it. And then you would just take just the edge of your iron and press that. Nothing sticks to your iron. Your iron doesn't get gummed up. It stays clean. And as you can see, you can cut it big enough so you can get all the sizes. But that's all you do. You just lay the parchment paper over the top of the wool and then press the edge in. That's all.
Okay. Someone also asked how wide is the battleizer, and it is 24 inches wide. So if that helps you there.
Yeah. And that's nice because you can, depending on your hoop size, you can get 2 or sometimes 3 across the 24-inch width, and it's a 5-yard package.
Okay. And then this is just too funny to me. Chris says her husband says that she's developed a Hoop Sisters addiction, but it's the best addiction,
That's
right?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's funny.
Sorry, Mr. Goodman. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. And then I did see also a comment saying, I can't find it now because there's so many. We've got YouTube and Facebook, and it's like
pouring together.
But it was something along the line. Oh, there it is. Will day 2 cover the sashing? Or did once and not easy and looked bad? Only did it once.
Okay.
So what are we going to talk about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to trim the block that we just sewed, and I'm going to show you how to pin it, and then where to sew it on. We're going to sew right on the basting stitch, and then I'm going to get a piece of sashing, and I'll show you how to put the sashing down. And for that, you're going to need your monopoly thread, which is an invisible thread. And Trying to think what else you need. The other thing you'll need is when you go to press your seams after you sew your blocks together, if you use wool, you're going to need a strip stick, and we have those in stock
I was
as
just
well.
thinking, because this happened one other time, we should tell
Mhm.
them everything they need. So
Oh,
they can place it. If you're
yes.
going to order today, then you get it all in the strip
Right.
stick,
Right.
the battleizer.
Right. The Vanish Light water soluble thread. You're going to need your monopoly invisible thread. You're going to need battleizer. The wool is optional. And then you're going to need a trimmer by George. And we're going to show the trimmer by George tomorrow on how to use it. And basically, when you do get this, it has a video on how to use it on one side. And it has another QR code on the other side for a free download to make a bag to store your trimmer by George. And it's basically an acrylic ruler. This one's in a package, but it has a metal edge in it. And it helps remove the bulk in the seam without cutting into the fabric on the front. So we'll show you how to use that tomorrow, how to sew your blocks together, and how to add the sashing.
And everything that is, I just dropped the link to where you can order, and everything that we're kind of talking about with the battleizer, the design, the trimmer, the scissors, it's all in that tab. I will add the Vanish Light because I don't think I did that.
Yeah.
So that it will be in there, but
And the Vanish Light is the water soluble thread. So if you're in there now and you're looking, I don't know if searching water soluble will bring it up, but Vanish Light is the brand name of it.
Yeah. And I just saw a question too that said what formats. So it's all multi-formatted. So when you order it, you're going to get all the formats and all the block sizes. You don't have to pick, your format and your block size. You get all of them.
You're ready? I'll list them off.
If you want to, go for it.
DST, EXP, JEF, PES, VIP, and VP3. So it covers all brands of machines, including multi-needle machines.
And then I did see another question, Annie. What is the wool for? It's in addition to the battleizer.
That is a great question.
It's an option.
It is an option. I'm going to leave this one in the hoop and show you. So what we did today is we left the wool out. This is the block I did previously with wool in it. And this is the block I did today. Which way am I going? Aubrey, direct me.
I don't know.
Wool, no wool.
There you go.
And I don't know, you can move it around with the lighting and stuff. But basically, the one with the wool is going to have more dimension, where the one without is going to be a little flat. But I'm looking at this honestly, and what do you think? Sometimes if you have a lot of seams and you have a lot of quilting, it just pushes the wool down anyway. I'm thinking with log cabin, I'm thinking you don't really need the wool.
And see, I think I can totally tell which one's which in person.
So which would you prefer? Is it a preference thing?
The wool.
I
like the wool. It kind of, so think of it this way. The wool kind of gives it like a trapunto effect.
Yeah.
Like it just gives it a little bit more oomph to it, but it's an option and you don't have to do it. Either way, you want the battleizer.
Right. That's a must.
Washing your quilt. So what we say is you can wash it and don't dry it, right?
Right. Wash it in cold water and take it out wet. You can put it in your dryer for a little bit on just a cold, not real hot dryer, but just for a few minutes. Or actually, I just always skip the dryer and I just take it out and spread it on a bed.
Right.
Turn on the ceiling fan and come back halfway through the day, flip it over. And by the end of the day, it's dry.
I think Ginger Fraser, if you're on here, I know you've mentioned this before as what do you use as an alternative to wool? Because I feel like it was you who you can use different things. We just like the wool, but someone asked if they could see the size difference. I think you're referring to the scissors, the mini versus the regular.
Or this.
It could be that, but they're talking about scissors in there too. So I don't know. But let me take it out of the package. These are just cute. The mini is like this big. Can you guys see that? I don't know. But both of them have the offset handle. And that's kind of where the magic is, because it allows you to, you're not taking it out of the hoop at all until your block is completely done, but you're going to want to trim, right? So it gets down in there nice and easy for you.
This one is great for applique. snipping threads and cutting short pieces of fabric. This one I like with log cabin because you have those long strips of fabric that you maybe sometimes need to cut it so it's a scant 1/4 inch left behind. But and they're very pointy. That's why they have a little tip at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Very sharp, thin blades. I think you'll enjoy it. And I will say that the mini, you're going to need 3 or 4 of them because you're going to want them
around,
at every
sprinkled around
machine, by your ironing board,
Yeah.
on your cutting table. You're going to want one everywhere.
Yes. Okay, so I think we got all your questions answered. We do have the giveaway yet. So I'm going to pop in there. We're giving away $50 in store credit today. So if you want to really quickly, the keyword was bonus, type that in. Also, I saw a couple people that said, I'm out of the country and I didn't get the email. So I don't think that I said that this way, but you had to have been registered to get the email. Okay. So I sent it to out of country people who registered. If that's still you and you didn't get it, email Nina or call Nina and she can help you out. So don't worry, we'll get you guys taken care of. All right. I see a bunch more bonuses rolling in. We've got almost 400 people watching between all the channels. So we'll see how many people. This is also a really good time as I get ready to share my screen for the $50 giveaway. This is also a really good time if there was something we missed or you weren't quite sure about, go ahead and ask that question while we've got Annie here. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, there goes another person. Somebody else. All right.
222 entries.
220.
Come on.
5. Okay, I'm hitting the button.
And everybody else is like, hit the button.
So that's fun. So we'll see. Who's it going to be? $50. Judy on YouTube. I don't know your last name, but Judy with a cute little doggy on YouTube. You are the winner. So here's what you're going to do, Judy. You are going to... Oh, let me put this back this way. You are going to contact Nina. You can just send her an email. It's right on the bottom of the screen. Email Nina@hoopsisters.com. Let her know that you were the day 1 log cabin workshop giveaway winner.
Awesome.
And she will put $50 in store credit into your account. So yes, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Judy. Now tomorrow, we're going to be doing the trimmer to show you how to trim your blocks up, pinning, all that kind of stuff. But we also have the Sew Tights giveaway tomorrow. Okay. So they were nice enough to send us these crazy cool magnets. I love the on the back, it says magnetic sewing pins. Nice. I think that's just a great way to say it, right?
That's right.
And they're super magnet.
Strong.
In fact, I saw on Facebook, they probably wouldn't recommend this, but I saw on Facebook the cutest thing. Someone used these. It's so cold, been so cold out, right? And so someone put our battleizer in their door.
Oh,
remember that?
They use that?
Well, somebody else used this they put like a batting around their fireplace because there must have been cold air coming in, and they used these all around it. And I just thought it was so funny.
That is
funny.
You
could use this for so many things in your sewing room. So this is tomorrow's giveaway for live viewers. So come back live. We'll have a different keyword and the winner will get the Sew Tight stuff tomorrow. Okay.
Is that the only? You have 2 giveaways, right?
Well, we did one today and we're doing this one tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving away more store credit.
I mean, I could. How about if we get to 500 viewers tomorrow? I will.
Oh, yeah.
We were over 400 today.
Yeah.
So what weight thread do you use in the bobbin when doing your embroidery stitching?
I'll be honest with you. I buy the pre-wound bobbins that I get from my sewing machine dealer, and maybe Linda, if you're on here, you can say what weight it is. I honestly don't know what weight. Whatever weight you would normally use for embroidery, that would be the weight that you would use.
Okay. And then the parchment paper, she just puts that over the wool just so she can press down just the edges and it doesn't stick. Her iron won't stick to it so that she can not get her needle caught in the wool when she does the placement stitch around there, or the tack down stitch. Okay.
Replay will be available.
Yes.
In case you want to watch it again.
Yes. Okay. All right, you all. That's what we got for you today. Go shopping. Take advantage of the 10% off, the bonus. That's going to save you at least $22 if you get the smaller battleizer. So we hope that you had fun today. I saw a lot of comments that were like, I never thought to do a log cabin in the hoop. So we're excited that maybe we've opened you up to a different possibility. We'll drop the shopping link in the comments one more time. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to show you the shops one more time. There's the shops. So if you're near Seymour, Connecticut, Woodstock, Illinois, Paris, Ontario, or Northeast Pennsylvania, you can shop with those shops, and they have all the things that we talked about. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. I'm so glad you loved it, Ruth, and we will see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place for day 2.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.